This is week 23 of learning new homesteading skills. And today we are making marmalade. So we're going to grab ourselves 8 to 10 oranges and 2 lemons. And then wash these under cold running water. Next we're going to grab ourselves a chopping board and a sharp knife and quarter all of the oranges, as well as removing the ends and any excess pulp. And then we're going to cut the flesh out of the orange, which we are going to chop up and measure out. We need to keep doing this until we have 4 cups or 1 quart of orange flesh. And then we're going to realize how tedious this is going to be. So we change tactics and start ripping the skin off. Once it's been forever and we have 4 cups of orange flesh, we're going to start removing the pulp from the skin in the most tedious and difficult way possible. And this is going to take absolutely forever. And this is when we realize that if we had have just read ahead in the recipe, we could have just peeled the oranges first and avoided this. Once it's been approximately 782 days of removing pulp from skin, we're going to chop the pulp up much bigger than we're supposed to, and hope that we have enough pulp to equal 4 cups or 1 quart. And of course we don't. So we're going to peel an orange, remove its butt, chop it up, and then peel the pulp from the flesh and chop that pulp up until we have those 4 cups or 1 quart. Next, we're going to chop up very thinly 2 cups of that orange peel. And then we're going to forget to hit the record button while we slice up 2 lemons thicker than we're supposed to, put everything in a large pot, in my case a Dutch oven, and add 6 cups or 1.5 quarts of water. Then we're going to put this on the stove and bring it to a boil, stirring occasionally with our spatchy spatch. Once it's at boiling point, we're going to let it boil for 5 minutes. Then we're going to switch our stove off and put this somewhere to cool slightly and cover it up. Once it's no longer scalding hot, we're going to put it in the fridge for 12 to 18 hours. Once it's endured the ice age, we're going to put it back on the stove and cook on medium-high until the orange peel is tender, stirring occasionally. Once we can smush through the orange peel with our spatchy spatch, we know it's done. While that sits for a second, we're going to get our water bath canner ready, or our really large pot filled with water with a cake cooling rack in the bottom. We just need to mostly fill this with water and bring it to a boil. Now we're going to get out a large pot and find our daughter's toy in it. So we're going to give that a quick wash and dry and measure out how much water orange mixture we have and put it all in that large pot. Then we need to add a boatload of sugar. This recipe has a 1-to-1 ratio. For every 1 cup of water orange mixture we have, we are going to add 1 cup of sugar. In this case, it was 8 3/4. Then we're going to stir that until it dissolves. Then we're going to bring that to a boil and let it do its thing. And then we're going to realize that we're supposed to be constantly stirring this thing. Once our water bath canner is at a boil, we're going to test our multitasking skills and try and find our jar claspers, which are in our atrociously disorganized plastic straw. Bingo! Then we're going to give our marmalade a little stir and put our clean, empty jars in our canner to sterilize. They need to sit in there for 10 minutes after it's come back to a boil. And then we're going to stir our marmalade again. Once it starts to boil, we need to keep an eye on the temperature. Now I still do not have one of those infrared thermometers, so we're going to use the meat thermometer again. This needs to hit 220 degrees. And this is where our metric-based brain can't comprehend Fahrenheit, because we were sitting there waiting for the temperature to get to 220 degrees Celsius, when it only needed to be 104. And then we're going to freak out a little bit because all of the bubbles appeared out of nowhere. But we're going to remember from last time we made jam that if you add a little butter, this will help. Once it's hit 104 degrees, we're going to take it off the stove and put our lids in a pan of simmering, not boiling water for 10 minutes to sterilize. Next, we're going to place down a tea towel and grab out our sterilized jars. Then we're going to fill one jar and realize that thermometers lie, because this is definitely too runny. So back on the stove it goes. And this is where chaos reigns, because we do not in fact have enough hands. And we slightly burn ourselves and almost the whole house down, and are left with a very sticky stove top and floor. But we're a tough cookie, so we clean up and keep going. We're going to empty that jar that we filled back into the pot, rinse it out and re-sterilize it, as well as reheating all our other jars in the water. And then we're going to bring our jam back to a boil and test it the old-fashioned way. When we scrape our mixture, we want it not to fill back up very quickly. If it's super runny, it's not ready. Now that our marmalade is ready, we're going to take it off the heat and then grab out our reheated jars. Next, we're going to fill these, leaving a 1/4 inch headspace. Then we are going to wipe down our rims and seals with vinegar, and then screw on our rings finger tight. And next, we're going to put them back into our canner, ensuring that they're covered by at least 1 inch of water, and then let that come back to a boil. Once that's boiling, we're going to process these for 10 minutes. After those 10 minutes, we're going to turn off the heat and let them sit for 5 minutes in the water. After those 5 minutes are up, we're going to take them out of the water and place them on a tea towel and listen as they slowly start to pop. And we're going to let these sit for 12 hours, ensuring that afterward we remove the rings, check the seals and put the date on them. And then we're going to take a moment for our sticky marmalade floor. And there we go. We've successfully burnt ourselves, almost burnt our house down, and made marmalade. What should we make next?